Genshin Impact is a pretty easy game. You level up, the enemies level up, but it's not really even. You still just kind of one-shot them. So let's make the game a little more challenging. Let's tip the scales in their favor by not leveling up our characters. We are going to try and beat Genshin Impact only using level 1 characters. Here are the rules. We can only use level 1 characters. Characters over level 1 can be used to walk around, but that is it. They cannot do damage to enemies or solve any elemental totems. I'll show you the reason why this rule is in place in just a minute. The second rule, all weapons are allowed and we can level them up. And the last rule, we will be free to play only for this account. Oh, and we're only going to be doing pools for standard banner and character banner. So let's see if we can beat Genshin Impact only using level 1 characters. We start our journey by, immediately losing a character. By resonating with Animo, the game automatically levels up your Traveler to level 2, which means that, aside from this mandatory fight, we cannot hurt any more enemies or do any elemental puzzles with Lumine. But that's okay, we're still in the game, because after seeing the big dog, we get our next character, Amber. We clear out the Hilichurl camp and swap back to Lumine because of this. Yeah, Mondstadt quests like to give out a lot of character XP, even for simple tasks like walking from point A to B. This is why I added the rule of allowing characters over level 1 to be used to walk around. We head inside the Knight's headquarters and unlock the reason why we all play this game. Our first objective is Amber's temple, and we're going to be using Lumine in this temple because it is possible to clear this temple without doing any damage to enemies. And I really did not want us to lose one of our 2 characters this early into the run. Yes! Boom! At the end of these domains, we have to damage these things, but the game doesn't consider it to be an enemy, so as far as I'm concerned, this is okay. The next task is Lisa's temple, which we also use Lumine for because you can skip all of the enemies in this domain. And as a reward, we get Lisa, who we actually cannot use because she starts at level 2, so we're still stuck with these 2. But not for long, because next is Kaya's temple, and we will have to make a sacrifice. Eeny, meeny, miny, you. This decision wasn't even close. So, for Kaya's temple, we do have to damage enemies, which means we had to give up a character. I chose Amber because she's Amber. That's not entirely true, except for it is. The situation was more like, I would much rather explore the open world with Noelle because she has a shield and can heal, so giving up Amber was just the better move for us. And with the end of this domain, we can no longer use Amber. Stay with me. But we get to use Kaya now. Oh wait, never mind. Now it's time to grind out some adventure ranks. And by grind out adventure ranks, I mean follow the Sealies and open random chests because we can't really attack anything. Eventually, we head to Dragonspine to unlock the tree, which allows us to make another 10 pool. Give us a character. We'll take that. We'll take that. That's good, that's good, that's good. That was actually not good. Literally, any other 4-star beside these would have been better. You see, Zhang Ling is a guaranteed character for every account. All we have to do is clear floor 2, 3 of the Abyss, which is very doable. But since we got her here, we essentially lost out on having another character later on. So this was pretty unfortunate for us, actually. We equipped Zhang Ling with the Slime Killer 9000, and we let her take over for Noelle. That way, we can actually defeat some enemies without worrying about Noelle getting too much XP. After 15 minutes of exploring, we hit AR10, and we were given a 10 pool. Aw, thanks, Hoyoverse, you're so kind. Let's see who we get. No! Phonius Lance. We level up our Slime Killer replacement, give it to Zhang Ling, and follow some more Sealies. After an hour of grinding, we tell Timmy that his dad's never coming home, and the game rewards us by giving us a wish. Give me Hazel, or give me any 4-star character. Just don't be a weapon. Please don't be a weapon. Yes, perfect! That's actually perfect. This was the best thing we could have gotten on this banner, besides Kazuha. Animo is one of the 3 required elements in this playthrough, so if we can keep him at level 1, we can be guaranteed to pass Leeway. He also allows us to do Kaya's story quest, which is very useful for us. Now we're back on the main quest. For this part, we have to fight an Eye of the Storm, and for completing this fight, we get almost 3,000 XP, which is gonna put someone past level 1, so it's time for another sacrifice.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a sailor by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. My mother told me to pick the very best one, and you are it!
Heizo was not an option, because we need him for later on, and he also literally cannot touch the Eye of the Storm. I chose to sacrifice Xiangling because of basically the same reasons for Amber. She's not Noelle. Noelle's shield and healing are very useful, and she has access to the debate club, so there's no real reason not to save her. No.
Stay with me.
But another sacrifice is nearing, because after this quest, it's time for the Fatui hideout, which gives 2,000 XP. So, we're gonna have to make another choice.
Well, this is it.
The character that will be chosen to level up is Rosaria. Originally, I was gonna clear this with Heizo, but I remembered I need Animo for later, which means I need Heizo because I can't guarantee that I'll get lucky enough to get another Animo character in the future. So I decided to go farm up some Primo Gems, and we got a Rosaria. Unfortunately, I do not have this footage because while recording, a squirrel decided to parkour off of a tree into a power line, which gave my neighborhood a power outage. I chose Rosaria instead of Noelle for the simple reason that Rosaria cannot use the debate club.
Stay with me.
Next up is finding the tears for the liar. The first tear is in the forest, which we were able to get with Lumine since no combat's required to get the tear. But for the other two, the other 2 tiers require combat, and they both give 3,000 character XP, which push our only 2 playable characters out of range. So it seems like the end is near. The second tier we chose to go after was the one with the Ruin Guard. I chose Heizo for this one because he only does elemental damage, and I really did not want to use Noelle against an enemy with 70 physical resistance. I also chose Heizo here because it really didn't matter. We were gonna get the XP for both of our characters, so this challenge was essentially over. Or so I thought. Because it turns out the quest is over when you get the chest, not when you defeat the Ruin Guard. So once we defeated the Ruin Guard, we quickly swapped to Lumine so she could take the character XP. Heizo was still level 1, and the challenge was still possible. But we still need to make a sacrifice. In order to get the last tier, we had to give up Noelle. Her efforts will not be forgotten, and as we collect the last tier, Noelle is no longer level 1.
I'm sorry, little one.
Stay with me.
It's time for the final act of Mondstadt, and we only have one character, Heizo. But there is one positive now. The main quests from now on do not give character XP, which is great. We might actually be able to get a full team now. The major downside to this though is that the quests and enemies are only going to get more difficult. We head into Storm Terror's lair, and we were actually able to take down Dvalin with relative ease. Heizo did a surprising amount of damage in this fight, and we only got hit twice. After 7 hours and 23 minutes, we completed Mondstadt, and our prize is the one and only
Ta-da! Ta-da!
Barbara is here, and the first thing she does is do our dailies because I don't want to give my Heizo any more XP. But Barbara kind of struggles with damage, and by kind of struggles, I mean, wow, this sucks. We reach world level 1 and go inside the Trial Grounds of Thunder. This domain will be a reliable source of adventure rank XP, and it thankfully does not give character XP. So it's probably the only reason I'm still sane from this challenge. After spending about 30 minutes in that domain, we made some more wishes. 4-star this not Heizo. Yes. Right, Toma or Ningguang? Toma or Ningguang? Toma, Ningguang. We'll take it, we'll take it. I would have much preferred Toma, but we'll take Ningguang. It was actually better that we did not get Toma. Lady Ningguang was the MVP for this challenge. She did the most consistent damage out of all my characters, but most importantly, she had this barrier. This barrier is good for 2 reasons. Number 1, for some reason, it does a lot of damage, even at level 1. And number 2, it blocks projectiles. This ability was the best thing to happen to us in this challenge. After 3 more hours, we talk to Huffman and he makes us AR-23, which means we can finally start Leeway. We talk to the child and head over to Mooncarver's domain. With his power, we were able to throw a lot more rocks than usual, and we walk over to Cloud Retainer's domain, which does not actually require pyro. It just requires parkour, which is very good for us because this challenge would have been over. Then it's on to Zhao, and thankfully, Ningguang was able to completely destroy the Ruin Hunter because she can actually hit it when it's in the air. Lastly, we head to Mountain Shaper, but before talking to him, I decided to do a single pull. 4-star bow character. 4-star bow character. Yes, 4-star bow character. 4-star bow character. 4-star bow character. We free the Amber. And then it's time to get some more XP. We do some dailies, which are slowly starting to creep up on our Barbara, and we attempt a domain that we cannot do. Soon after, we hit AR-25 and do the Ascension domain, which really wasn't that bad. Our good friend Aleph wasn't able to put up much of a fight against our Hazo, so we beat him pretty quickly. And now, our world level has gone up again. Yeah! Now it's time for the main quest again. We go to the cooking pot to heat up some rocks, which we can thankfully do because we have Hazo. We clean the teapot out with all of our characters, then throw some people off of a cliff, and enjoy a relaxing dinner with Zhongli. Never mind. We attempt and fail to defeat the Primo Bishop, grind in the domain, and make some more wishes. Fischl or Sarah? Fischl or Sarah? Fischl or Sarah? Fischl or Sarah? Bow character at least. This is not real. Is this a joke? Wow. So happy. We really needed gleeful songs. After doing a lot of dailies with Ningguang, we hit AR-28 and we can finally finish Leeway. We activate the Animo device with Hazo and head up to the chamber. We talk to Ningguang, stealth through the Fatui because I want to do as little fighting as I can, and we sing to some flowers. These flowers were actually a lot stronger than I thought, and they almost completely wiped us out. Now it's time for the next boss fight, Child. The main strategy for this fight is to keep him at range because his projectiles are pretty reactable and Ningguang is our main source of damage. We can't really use Hazo for damage here because Hazo has to get close to Child, which is basically just putting him in range to get 2-shotted, and we can't use Barbara because, yeah. Then it's on to the defensive Leeway, and all I can really say is thank you Madam Ping, Ganyu, and Zhao, because without your buffs, there was no way we were gonna beat this mission. After almost 19 hours, Leeway is finished. Never mind because we need to rebuild the Jade Chamber. We head into the domain with Shinha, and our lack of damage is really starting to show. We find the rock and give it to Ningguang, which allows us to fight the wife of the man we just killed. Now it's on to the Dainsleif quest, which went smoothly, except for this one part. Oh, no wonder Barbara sucks. No shot. Of course. Of course that hit me. Never mind, I can't. Please, man. Please. Of course! Oh damn, what happened? What happened? Once the Dainsleif quest is over, we start doing the Diluc event, which gives us enough Primo Gems to make some wishes. Alright, 4-star, electric, be an electric or a bow character. Oh my god. Then it's time to start Inazuma. Our first objective is to do the transport mission, which was a lot harder than I had anticipated. We do approximately 0 damage to them, and we have a 5-minute time limit to defeat all of the enemies. I failed a couple of times, but after changing our build and leaning forward in my chair, we were able to complete this mission. Just barely though. We join forces with Ayaka, and we agree to help her free a felon out of prison. After becoming an enemy of the state, we make a wish. 4-star? Yes. Character. Which character? We'll take that. We'll take Yunjin. Perfect. After 24 hours of gameplay, we finally got a full team of level 1 characters. We give her the Favonius Lance, and her first objective is to fight
The almighty Raiden Shogun.
who seems a lot more intimidating than she actually is. It is very easy to cheese this fight. After doing this battle on 6 different accounts, I've learned some things to help make this fight a lot easier. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. Bum ba dum bum 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 bum. Our win condition is basically to make the Shogun do this one move, because it sucks. This move is very reactable and it makes her stand still for a couple of seconds. All we need to do is just play it around a medium range and she'll do this move. If we can keep her away, Ningguang can just keep chucking rocks at her from a safe distance and we can win this fight. After our encounter with the Shogun, it's time to go to the resistance and do the archery section, which is a problem. With our team, it might actually be possible to do this part. Ningguang's passive works on the dummies, so we could use that to our advantage. But even if she did the archery section, we still have another problem coming up. Remember when I said this? Animo is one of the 3 required elements in this playthrough. The next required element is Electro, which we will need for these pillars coming up. So I had 2 options. Either spend possibly hours on this archery demonstration with Ningguang and hope to get an Electro character soon, or the second option, try and get an Electro bow character. But there's only 2 of those in the game, and the chances of getting them are extremely low. If only there was a way we could get a guaranteed Electro bow character. So after doing Klee and Mona's story quest, we get access to the Golden Apple Archipelago, and after 3 hours, we finish the main story for the event, which means we can actually start doing the side events to unlock Fischl. The side events I chose to do were the Mona and Xinyan events, because Mona's event gives us a buff that insta-kills anyone near us, which is the only reason I was able to kill these guys. And Xinyan's event gave us a plunge attack buff that almost one-shots everyone. After 3 hours, we finish the last Xinyan domain, and we can invite Fischl to join our party. Fischl, Prinzessin der Welt, just get here. Alright! Fischl was a great addition to the team. She was someone who could provide damage off the field, and she gave us another swirl reaction for our Hazo. We equipped her with the Favonius Warbow and some attack artifacts, which allowed her to complete the archery demonstration without any problems. Come on, I'm so close. Pressure getting to you? I'll skin you alive. Then it's on to the battle at the ship, which we were able to dominate pretty easily. Afterwards, we head to Watatsumi Island and fight off some Ronin that took a very long time to kill. We really do not do any damage anymore. Kokomi rewards us by giving us a puzzle to do, so we head off there with our Fischl. Thanks to Fischl, we can get past the Electro Pillars and take down the Biggie Churl. Teppei dies, and it's time for probably the hardest part of this challenge, the Delusion Factory. This part is hard for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1, this guy. God damn, is this guy annoying. On normal accounts, this guy's never really a problem. He's kind of a joke, but he is an absolute menace on this account. His shield blocks Animo and Geo damage, which is the majority of my damage. I can't really target anyone else because he just rushes over there and blocks for them. But even if I trigger the shield by using Hydro or Electro, he just sucks me up and punches me. It's like fighting Doomfist, but instead of getting stunned and one-shotted, I just get one-shotted. So I guess there's one upside to fighting him over Doomfist. He's a good support, and that's why he's such an issue. But the biggest problem is the next floor. This floor has a Pyro Sniper, Animo Dude, and the Electro Witch. She is a problem for 2 reasons. First reason, this move, when she gets a shield and just ascends towards me. Whenever she does this move, I basically have to swap to whichever character I want to die the most, since I don't have a character that can really damage her shield. The second reason is her bats. Her bats are only a problem because my damage comes from Ningguang. And for whatever reason, Ningguang only wants to attack the bats instead of the enemy standing right in front of her. With my current team comp, this part seemed basically impossible, so I went back to the Golden Apple to gain some more Prima Gems so I could make a wish, praying that I get one of these 2 Pyro characters so we can deal with the Electro Witch. And my prayers were answered. Do not be Yunjin. This... After Hoyoverse decided to screw with me because God has a sense of humor. Please be a Pyro. Whoa, okay. Pyro. Thank you. Thank you! We got Xinyan, who was the other best thing to happen to us in this challenge. I know that probably makes all 5 Xinyan players happy to hear. With our newly acquired Xinyan and her Rain Slasher, we were able to defeat the Animo Guard with no problems, hit the Electro Bitch consistently, and finally complete this domain. Let's go. Finally, we do the anti-Raiden Shogun training, and we defeat the Kujo clan, which went a little longer than I would have liked it to. Then it's on to Senora, who was my personal biggest worry going into Inazuma, mainly because of her weather gimmick and how much health we have. The strategy to deal with this walking bipolar thermometer was different from the other boss fights. The cryo phase was the biggest problem, mainly because we have Barbara on our team.
No.
So the strategy was to stay close to her and one of these things. I have no idea what they are called. After dealing with the cryo phase, it was time for the pyro phase, which wasn't too bad. It was still more or less the same strategy. Just stay next to these things with Ningguang and keep throwing rocks at her. Eventually, we threw enough rocks and Senora was defeated.
Ooh, damn.
My biggest fear was gone, and the only thing left between us and completing Inazuma was
The almighty Raiden Shogun and the Muso no Hitotachi.
the strategy here was still the same as before. Get her to do the range move, attack, repeat, success. Eventually, we threw enough rocks and we moved on to the second phase. But in this phase, I stopped caring about strategy and kept running at her because I thought I was invincible. I was not. I did not know that if you died 4 times, the buff would go away. So, we failed. But we immediately came back and kept throwing rocks at the Shogun, which led to our victory. After spending 36 hours, 34 minutes, and 30 seconds of my life, we beat Genshin Impact only using level 1 characters. Or it would have been at least, but then Sumeru came out, so we have to continue the clock. But hey, at least we get some of those post-patch primos. Let's see who we get.
Please be a character we don't have. There's literally no way. Honestly, I don't even know what to expect.
You know what? That's fine. That's cool. I'm not even angry. We get C1 Heizo, and that's pretty good, so I'm not even mad. It's time for the chasm, and all I can say is, why are Geo Bishops tankier than some of the bosses I faced earlier? It's okay though, because I was able to cheese them. What a great game. But when I called this a good game, he got angry and started attacking me, so I guess he doesn't agree with me. Then we can actually start the Dainslift quest, which wasn't too bad, mainly because we can actually take down the shields since we're using different elements. We are now AR 35, so it's time to do the next Ascension domain, or as I like to call it, the difficulty spike. Remember when I said this? And it's time for probably the hardest part of this challenge, the Delusion Factory. I wrote that line before I did this gameplay. Oh my god, I want to die. First things first, we officially do no damage. I know I've said that before, but it's really on a whole nother level at this point. We also can't really take any more damage now. So this challenge has basically turned into, can you beat the game without getting hit? The second problem is this room. I would like to wish the person who designed this room a very pleasant go fuck yourself.
What?
The archers in this room do not move. They stand right where they are the entire time. So I have to walk to each and every single one of them to kill them individually, which is hard to do because of this tanky bastard following me around. It took me so long to clear this room, but after an eternity, we were finally able to beat them. But we're still not done. The last problem is our good friend Aleph. He heard that I was talking some shit earlier, so he decided to get a lot more health. This room was a bitch. I almost quit this entire playthrough because of this one part. I didn't have any more eggs to give our team members, so if one of my damage dealers died, I had to reset. The strategy to defeat Aleph was extremely forehead. Just don't get hit. Once. I had to get basically a perfect run. I couldn't get hit, and I had to maximize the little damage I did as much as possible. And we did, with almost a minute to spare. Oh no. We lost our Ningguang, and we still had to do more damage, so it was full gamer time. I did the most damage that we possibly could, and we were able to get to the final elemental prison. We only have less than 7 seconds left, and Heizo is our best option. I mash as fast as possible on the keyboard, and gamer lean all the way onto the floor. And we did it.
Yes!
With little time to spare. Plays like that are the reason why I'm the 3-time back-to-back-to-back winner of the Best Gamer Award. And here are our rewards. Their names are Jack and Shit. Now it's time for Sumeru. We reach the mainland and help out Kale. After cleaning the statue and seeing some, Paimon gets upset and knocks Kale out.
Paimon won't forget this! It's time for some primordial bath!
So, we get to go help Tainari with the Withering Zone, which was a lot harder than it should have been. Mainly because whenever my fischl shot the plants, they would also shoot back and one-shot her. The next obstacle in our path is the domain that sends us to the inside of a tree. I guess I don't know what this place is. This domain was like a child taking a band-aid off. Slow and painful, but not the worst pain in the world. Now we can leave the small village and head into this crazy, noisy, bizarre town. We obtain the AirPods and start looking for the grass god, but we can't find her anywhere. So we talk to the NPC of this region, Dunyarzad. She shows us around the city and we get to see Nilou. Hey Nilou. Dia then takes us to Asfand, who tells us that the Divine Knowledge Capsule is in the hands of some mercenaries at the port. So we need to go there. Once we reach the port, we make a quick pit stop to do this event so we can get a free character. Kale. We go back to the main story and things go smoothly. We meet with Alhaitham, get some stuff from Dory, and test out our new official replacement. Then it's time for the big fight of Act 1, and we get to use a strategy I like to call the minefield. You take Kale's burst, add Barbara's skill, and combine it with Hazo, and you get enough bombs that would make an 8-year-old happy. Act 1's completed. Yay! So it's time for Act 2. Yay! We spend the day with Dunyarzad and see a man talking to Nilou.
私の名はキラヨシカゲ。年齢33歳。
Nilou tells us that the man who was talking to her introduced himself as Yoshikage Kira.
キラークイーン第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト。
やったぞ発動したぞ
We spend the day with Dunyarzad, and the next day, I think we both know where this is going, so I'll just skip to the one combat part in this entire act, which was easy thanks to the minefield strategy. Act 2 is finished.
Thank God.
And to celebrate, we're going to be getting some Primo Gems so we can unlock a new character.
But I mean, it's not like we're gonna get a 5-star on this 10 pool, right? Come on. We'll take this though.
I was actually pretty happy with this pool since we got 2 characters that really aren't used too often. After that pool, we leveled up our weapons and we start Act 3. We do one of my favorite hobbies of gaslighting a woman. Then we head to Apple so we can apologize to her. The doctor then sends his army of fans to attack us, which leads to us retreating into the forest. Inside the forest, we come across some mercenaries, which means it's time for another fight. This fight was easier than the last one, mainly because we had access to these dendro things that also work on enemies, which was amazing because they did a lot of damage and they applied dendro, which works well with my fischl. Only one problem, half the time it wouldn't hit its target. Now it's time for the desert, and for this area, I decided to change my team comp. Other content creators don't want you to know about this team comp because they're trying to gatekeep it. They don't want you to clear Abyss, and they've been hiding this from you. Barbara, fischl, Sayu, Candace, or as I like to call it, Ballsack. What more could you need in life? After trying out Candace's ability for the first time in my life, we head up the hill and fight off some bandits. So you guys will get to see this team comp work in action. The main thing to note is that Candace's shield ability is actually pretty good in this challenge. It absorbs a lot of damage and it does a fair amount of damage. It's like playing Zhongli, but I have to put in a lot more effort without getting anywhere close to the same results. Once that fight's done, we go to my place of birth, an old mental hospital. Outside of the hospital, we have to fight some hilly churls and the biggest churl, who would one-shot me repeatedly. Seriously, even Candace's Aegis shield could not hold off against this enemy. Eventually, with a little bit of faith, trust, and tears, we were able to smite this foul beast and move on. For this next part, we need to use the last required element for the story so far, dendro. But it's okay, because we came prepared. We get to use Kale again, which means it's time for Minefield 2.0, which did not work as well as last time, but we can't be too mad. Hydro Sayu tried her best. Now we get to roll over to the pyramid to enter the Temple of Anubis. We swapped off of Ballsack in favor of using Jinyan, fischl, Barbara, and Hazo. Everything was going fine up until we hit this room. Wow! So let me paint this picture for you so I can describe what happens in this room. You enter the room here, right? And there's like 4 enemies. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get close to one and the other guys go like pew, pew, pew and hit you in the back. And since you're a little soy who can't eat their vitamins, you die in 1 hit. Even when you run away like this, shoo, they still catch you because it's like running away from your responsibilities. Eventually they catch up. Don't. I realized that this team comp was not going to work for this area. What we really needed was a character that could block projectiles without having to get close to them. So after rearranging my team comp and making some food, we went back in. As I stated earlier, this barrier ability is one of the best things that has ever happened to this account. We still died a couple of times, but we actually had some room to breathe now because of this wall. With the pyramid in Act 4 being completed, we can start Act 5 and work with the Apple employees to take down some criminals. This fight felt a little weird, to be honest. Like a Genshin player sitting at the cool kids table at lunch. I felt like I didn't belong, mainly because it was just the bots fighting while I just threw rocks at one side until they eventually disappeared. Now we get to go to Party City to fight some Fatui agents, or as I like to call this, the first episode of I should have used Jin Yan because I could not destroy these electro shields. It's honestly a little weird to think that I'm probably one of the 3 people on this planet who has unironically said the sentence, I should have used Jin Yan. After doing Nahida's trial run, we enter the factory from robots, or as I like to call it, the second episode of I should have used Jin Yan, because these electro enemies returned and they brought the Cryo Fatui Gunner. Alright, John Hoyoverse, you gotta level with me. Why does Geo hurt Cryo Abyss made shields, but not Cryo Fatui? First it was physical damage, now this. Why? I just want to know why. I just want to know. I just want to
talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him.
We are almost done with this area, but we have to defeat this enemy who is honestly, low-key, one of the most annoying enemies in this game. She's just not that common, which is why people don't talk about her. If you don't believe me, go to Dragon Spine right now and fight her without a pyro character. Just do it. After that exhausting 50 minutes, we start the Scaramouche boss fight, and it was kinda underwhelming. This floating pig thing does close to all the damage we could ever need to do. I panic and swap to Nahida when the nuke happened, but even if I swapped to another character, this still would have been very easy. Scaramouche couldn't even one-shot us. But we still have one more obstacle, one more area that is stopping us from completing this challenge. This area that I really don't know why is here, to be honest. The wolf enemies really aren't as annoying at level 1 as they are on normal accounts, because corrosion does percent damage, and since we don't have a lot of HP, they don't have much to work with. Corrosion can't really hurt us, but you know, some of their other attacks do one-shot us, so they do have something against us. There's also this Electro Biggie Churl that wiped my whole team, but after utilizing some patience, we defeated this monster, and we are done with Sumeru. After 50 hours and 10 minutes, we beat Genshin Impact only using level 1 characters. Ningguang, Barbara, Fischl, Hazo, Jinyan, Candace, Kale, Sayu, and Yunjin. These were our survivors, but we cannot forget those who crawled so that they could walk. And what better way to honor them than with a wish? Alright, give us Scaramouche, and it looks like we're not getting Scaramouche. Just give us a new character, at least give us a new character. That's just poetry.
Tell me why.